it seems that every single day there's a new theory about where the shot came from that killed Charlie Kirk. And I myself have even bought on one of those theories and shared with you my opinion about a side from or shot from the side. I said from the very beginning that it looked like that shot came from the side, and I broke it down recently. But today I've decided, when everybody was kind of kicking me in the nuts about all the theories about why I was wrong and why their theory is right, I thought, oh my God, how many theories do we have? Today I'm going to break down the top 10 theories about where that shot came from and where I rank them on my list. Tell me where your favorite theory ranks on my list. All right, on screen, I'm going to start with number 10, working down to number one, 10 being the least likely of the theories that I'm going to review today. I'm just putting them in my order that I find them to be most likely to end up being true at the end of the day. And I'm going to have a lot of thoughts and comments. By the way, some of these are going to slip. Like I could put that five or six in reverse, six or five. There's some, but some like 10 is pretty much solidly in 10. One is pretty good at one, only because of a recent video I watched. So let's start with number 10, the holographic projection theory. In this theory, and I'll see if I can get this slide to advance. In this theory, there was a projector. Now, by the way, this is not going to be a breakdown of the video in slow motion, all that kind of stuff. There's not going to be any graphic violence in this image or any of the images in here, so you can relax. We're not going to show death, murder, and all that stuff on here. We're just going to break down still images and nothing too graphic. So here in the holographic theory, this behind Charlie Kirk was a projector that was projecting a holographic image of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk wasn't even there. It was all a grand illusion. He's not dead. It never happened. It's a Hollywood stunt. And this projector is what did it. This man allegedly was taking down the projector within 4 minutes of Charlie Kirk being shot and quickly took that away. And many people thought that was very suspicious. Now, I haven't checked the rumors to prove that it was taken down in 4 minutes, but I've seen many people, including, it seems, news reporters talking about this weird individual taking down the projector within moments of it happening. Here is what the projection would look like: a Christie HD 14K model 3D LP projector that is the type of, I think, device that they're saying is what you see behind them. It's a projector for holographic images. It would project an image like this on a holographic plane so that it looks like a person sitting inside that box in that canopy. And that is the number 10 idea. Didn't even happen. Charlie Kirk wasn't there. It's a holographic image. I put that pretty freaking low on my list. However, if you believe that what's happened, please tell me why and help convince me of it, because I'm open-minded enough to consider all of these theories for serious. I will actually for reals, for serious. I'll do that. Number 9 on my list is the Hollywood effect. Similar to the projection one, perhaps, it's a blood squib. In other words, there was a blood pack put underneath the skin. Like, for example, this is an image of a Hollywood actor with a prosthetic neck where they planted, or they're cutting open the neck because that's a prosthetic neck. That looks extremely real. Underneath the prosthetic neck, they would put an explosive squib. That squib blows out blood. And again, it's a staged theater effect. Charlie Kirk didn't die. It's staged theater for us to think that he died, and he's somewhere off doing something else that they don't want you to know what he's doing because it was a staged event to make it look like he died. That comes in at number 9, the Hollywood effect. Lapel Mike. This one's got only one slide for it, but if you see on his shirt, he's got that black spot right there, or whatever you want to say, that black spot. There are those who say that black lapel mic looking thing is actually a miniature gun that fired around through his neck, and the angle is perfect, they say, for the slant of that lapel mic to go right through his neck where you saw the exit wound. That is actually a little miniature gun, according to this theory, that shot him right through the neck from his own shirt, and he thought it was just a lapel mic or something like that. That comes in pretty low on my list, but I thought I'd give it a mention. The cell phone / palm gun theory. This is the idea that someone with a gun that looks like a cell phone fired that shot from close range, from either the front or the back, from the audience or right behind him. And the technology exists, they say, that is there a gun that can look exactly like a cell phone and fires a little small round. It wasn't a 30-06 round that shot him, hence the reason why we don't see what you'd think you would see on a 30-06. That's the legend or the myth or the theory that goes behind this cell phone palm gun. Here's an individual, for example, that guy there, if you look on my screen, right behind Charlie with the glasses, he's got his hands underneath, he's got his hands folded like this. There's some that say that he was taking a side shot from underneath, or this guy, and I think that's going to show up. We're going to show the side shot as a theory coming up later. Or this kind of cell phone thing, a guy holding the cell phone like that, which could be a gun and fired from behind Charlie Kirk. Now we know, some of us know now who that individual is with the cell phone and where he really was in relation to Charlie Kirk. Camera angles can be very deceiving, but something like that where a person can hold up a phone just like that, press a button, and it fires around into his neck, and that was the shot. This individual also has been scoped out in the thing, because he puts his hand up here and seems to squeeze, and then you hear crack, the gunfire. Some say that he fired that from some kind of palm gun mounted underneath his shirt right there, and that was the shot taken. Again, I put that very, very low on my list, but prove me wrong. Show me the evidence why you think it's the palm gun or cell phone attack from behind or in front of Charlie Kirk. Number 6, the under the arm shot. I kind of teased that earlier. That's, again, this guy right here who had his arms folded across his chest. The idea is that he shot literally like this without even looking at Charlie Kirk. He's looking straight ahead, but he's such a good marksman that he was able to shoot Charlie Kirk from underneath his elbow. When the moving picture is shown, you see him kind of pull his hand back. It looks like he's got something in his hand. It made a lot of people believe, or at least a significant number of people believe, and do some videos, that that person has a gun under their hand and literally did a side shot of miraculous proportions with the aim. Prove me wrong if you think that that's where it came from, is from the side. Again, there's another shot of his positioning in the circle. You see Charlie Kirk and the man that has his arms folded, and allegedly right underneath his folded arm is his hand with the gun pointed at Charlie Kirk's neck, and that shot was taken from the side with a palm gun, whatever. Then there's the explosive squib idea. This, if you remember, the Israelis, was involved in the Hezbollah's exploding pagers idea, that Israel had basically sent exploding pagers, or somebody had sent exploding pagers that looked like regular pagers, but they would be little miniature bombs and they would explode. And some believe that kind of same thing happened to Charlie Kirk, that he had a lapel mic on him, for example, that just exploded, or something just under his t-shirt or his neck that exploded, that he was wearing the entire time, and when it exploded, it ruptured his neck, and that took him out. Now, that is lower down on my list. We're working down into, in my mind, a little bit more plausible theories, but I thought I'd put it on the list at number 5. Now we're getting to a lot more plausible. Now that we're getting down into the top 4 or 5, we're getting to more and more plausible from me. The idea that the shot was taken from the audience, not up on a rooftop, but from within the audience. I don't have a lot to show you other than there are people like body language experts like this who are going through, looking at the audience, looking for a spotter or somebody in the audience, and watching body language and behavior to see who looks suspicious. Many people have postulated that shot was taken from straight on down low in the audience. The other part was all distraction. The shot was actually taken very close from down low inside the audience. So I don't have a good image of anybody who said this is the shooter in the audience. So I just grabbed this picture of this guy, body language expert, talking about whether or not there was a spotter or somebody in the audience that was involved with this. The shot could have been taken from down low like this in the audience. Now we're working into theories about him being shot from the front, but not from the same angle or by the same person as the official narrative goes. Working now again to some more very realistic ideas. The shot from the back idea. Many people thought that he was shot from the back. Again, there is the image of that projector we talked about in the Hollywood theory of the Hollywood projector, but many believe that it was an actual gun, that this projector, and the reason why it was taken down, was actually a gun. It's a projector that's designed to look like a projector, but really was a gun, and it fired around from behind Charlie Kirk, striking him through the neck from behind, and that's where the shot was taken, because that is actually a gun, and it was shot from behind. Now I list that as relatively lower than the behind the shot, which is that up high, for example, on the walkway behind Charlie Kirk, a round could have come from up high and down in behind the canopy to shoot him in the neck or something like that. So it's working a little bit closer to reality, I guess, in some regards. And it's pretty high on the list, but I don't know that it makes any worse sense, I guess, to be further up the list of all those other ones that I ruled out. Again, here's a picture of the individual taking down the projector very quickly. Some would say that that is a gun. From the side is the version that I showed you earlier yesterday, which was I had already said from the very beginning when I saw it, it looks like he got shot from the side. That was based on what I saw at the physics that I saw with him getting knocked over to the side. It looked like he got knocked over to the side. Now, some argue he got shot in the front and he slumped to the side. Others feel like he actually got knocked sideways in his chair. And that's what I thought, is it looked like he got knocked sideways in the chair. And I thought the exit wound, the part where you saw blood really come out of the neck, was the exit wound. And I was always looking for the entrance wound. And then came a really, really popular video that's got something like, last I saw, 9 million views, that says, yes, indeed, the shot came from this angle. Here you see Jesse on fire talking about this, which is the Range Day Bros video that had like, well, there's 147,000 subscribers, and I can't see the number down here, but it was like 9.5 million views when I last saw it or heard it talked about. So the angle you can see in the red arrow, this was Range Day Bros video about it, showing how the shot came from this angle and hit him perhaps in the back of the head or the side of the head and out through the neck. I did agree very early on, and I still kind of agree that exit wound is the exit wound on that side of the neck. And so I've been looking for the entrance wounds, the proof of the entrance wound. That's the $1 million question. Where's the entrance point? That is clearly, in my opinion, that X on his neck is clearly the exit, in my opinion, to this day. I still feel like that's the exit. The only other possibility in my mind is that the round came straight on. Well, it's not the only other. The likely scenario is it came from straight on and it just winged his neck right there in the X. And that could explain why we don't see an entry wound, because it literally it just kind of blew through the neck right there. Again, officially, they're saying, well, I don't know if it's official, but many sources are now saying the bullet was still lodged in his neck. So that wouldn't be possible in this scenario. But to show you a few more frozen frames, the bullet trajectory coming down from this angle, striking him perhaps right above the ear and then out through the neck. If you look right there, there's an arrow he pointed out. This individual, Range Daybro's video, shows what he says is you can actually see the skin starting to extrude out as the bullet's coming through his neck, that frame was actually frozen, and shows where the bullet is actually exiting out the neck, right where the exit would come. And the angle of that trajectory would then put it striking him somewhere up in the head and coming out the other side, down low. And it had indicated in a video, and if you haven't seen it, it's called the Patsy cover up or something like that video. I said if it did come from that angle, at that kind of angle and through the neck, and if it was indeed a spray of blood that you see up here, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. If it was indeed a spray of blood for the entrance wound up here and the exits down here, that would have put that angle right into the ground in the earth. And an odd thing happened, which was that right after the shooting, before students returned, they pulled up all the grass. Who knows how deep down they went into the grass. They pulled up grass and they laid concrete and bricks over top of the area and made a memorial very quickly before students come back. And I said, isn't that interesting? Because if the bullet did come in at this trajectory, if it did come at this trajectory, that bullet would be lodged in the ground somewhere next to Charlie Kirk. And perhaps they didn't want people going out there with metal detectors later if they thought the shot came from the side, looking for that bullet from this exact angle. And so therefore a convenient way to cover that up is you just quickly make a memorial and you cement over the whole thing. That way nobody can come in there with their metal detectors looking for the bullet that may be lodged in the dirt still. And of course they couldn't just dig it out right in front of everybody, because camera crews are all over that area watching the area. So they can't certainly come in there with a metal detector and find the bullet and hide the evidence. So if it's a big cover up, they let that bullet basically sit there and they just cemented over the area. And in fact, they're talking about putting a much longer permanent memorial on that spot. And so therefore covering up the earth. And if a bullet is lodged in the dirt because it came in at that angle, what a great way to make sure nobody digs into that situation. And then later on, when nobody's paying attention and all the camera crews go home, you send somebody in to fucking find that bullet so that 10 years from now, somebody doesn't go looking, oh, you know what, I'm going to dig under that thing and see what was under there and see if I can find that bullet. They'll just take care of that when nobody's looking. So that's pretty good on my list, because I still think, and I know a lot of you kicked me in the ass, devil's advocate, you can't take that shot from where you're saying it was taken. The canopy would block it. True, I understand that canopy does look like it would block that shot, so fair enough. Devil's advocate, it can't be taken from that shot. The place that you show in the video where it was taken from, there's a glass partition. There's no way the guy could have taken it from there. Okay, fair. I saw that after you guys pointed it out over and over again. I'm just sharing my theories. And one of the things I want to basically ask you in America is to give everybody a little grace to come up with theories. It's great that we're having the conversation. And again, I know some of you are going to accuse us of all sensationalizing murder and all those with that. No, we want to know what happened. And so these theories and all of these talking heads that are saying, hey, it looks to me like this, we're just saying it looks to me like this. And so I banked on number 2 as being really good. And then, by the way, here's that picture of that up on top. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I haven't blown it up very big, but up there, like there's a suspicious fern. That's a fucking suspicious looking fern up there in the corner. Anyways, that's what we teased on the show with Birdie Bombshells, and I talked about how that fern looked awfully suspicious. This deck up there had no students, nobody up there. It would be a great position potentially for a sniper to take a side shot. Some argued, and I haven't been able to do it, that the angle of attack here from that position to the canopy, Charlie Kirk would have been, the canopy would be in the way, so the shooter wouldn't have been able to see his head, and therefore couldn't have made that shot. That's debated. There's also what appears to be potentially a glass wall on both sides of that fern, therefore somebody can't shoot through the glass. So that's another problem with that argument. Again, when I made the comment, I'm like, hey, for finally somebody has shown what looks like the entrance wound, and we're going to cover that just a little bit when we get past number 1 to get into a little bit of the details about the exit and entrance wound, and we'll break that down a little bit more. It's kind of some bonus material. So here we go again with the suspicious fern up top. You can see at the very top of that screen, there is where that suspicious looking fern is, which looks like it has a clear shot. There it is, a zoomed in version. Again, the suspicious fern. However, there's a glass wall here. It didn't look like there was a glass wall here on other pictures. It does look like there's a glass wall there. Here's this person has overlaid what looks, see, that looks like a sniper inside the bush. Maybe not, but that's what they said was a good position. And it looked good enough for me. It's like, man, I told you, I thought it came from the side. It could be something like this. And that's all I said. That's all I said is it could be something like this. And by the way, and I made a big deal about them cementing over the ground, because if it came at that angle, that bullet's lodged in the earth next to Charlie Kirk, and that's why they cemented over it. So again, I'm kind of defending my position, but also saying that this video, or the more recent video that came out after that, Devil's Advocates, you're a complete moron, Jesse on Fire has definitively proven, by the way, if I hear one more time somebody tell me it's been proven definitively it was from the front, it's been proven definitively it was taken from the back, it has now been proven definitively it's been taken from the side, it's been proven definitively that his necklace is what you see, not a mist of blood, it's his earpiece that you see, it's been proven. I can't tell you the number of times that all of you are telling me it's been proven definitively, and all you're really doing is you're sharing with me your personal theory. And great, tell me in the comments what numbers yours comes in at. Number 1, from the front. Again, I originally thought that it came from the side. A recent video I saw by, I think, Jesse on Fire showed a pretty good argument from this angle why Charlie Kirk seems to be knocked backwards, indicating that he literally took the hit from the front. And the angle that I saw, the physics looked like he got knocked to the side. So that's the $1 million question. And again, camera angles can be deceptive. So even this image that he showed, which looked pretty convincing, that Charlie Kirk was knocked backwards, as if he got struck from the front, even that can be deceptive because his camera angles are deceptive. And at the end of the day, show each other some grace to say, I'm not sure. Maybe it came from the front. Maybe it came from the side. Maybe it came from the front side. I don't know. There's another image of Charlie kind of recoiling back and back, also kind of to the side. But that was an argument that kind of was like, man, upon further review, the play stands as called. Maybe the play stands as called a front shot from somewhere in front. Now, whether that is, again, now I want to point out, when I say number 1's coming in the front shot, I have a high suspicion this story is not done yet. This was not Tyler Robinson from the roof with a candlestick in whatever. That is not how it happened. That is the story that they're telling you. And I'm just trying to make a Clue reference, by the way, on that. But the whole, it was Tyler Robinson on the rooftop with the candlestick, or the 30-06 rifle that his grandfather loaned him, or whatever the case may be. That story is probably not true. I still feel like that story is not true. This was a political assassination and not just a radical left Democrat waging war on the Democratic or the Republican Party. That story is the narrative they want to make everybody divided in America, in my opinion. But then again, I guess at the heart, maybe there's a part of me that's a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. As my channel does, however, all I want at the end of the day is for us to be able to ask open questions. And hopefully Kash Patel from the FBI holds true to his word, which is to say, hey, we've got a lot of people saying that shot was taken from another area or another angle. And so we were looking into all those. By the way, in this image, you can see that guy that supposedly had that palm gun doing the squeezing right as Charlie Kirk gets shot. Some people say that gesture he made right when the crack happened is him firing that gun from that close range. I put that pretty low on the list. But anyways, the recoil effect of Charlie going backwards has made me reconsider whether the shot could have come from the front. But it doesn't necessarily mean I believe the story that Tyler Robinson did the shot. I think there's lots of reasons to not think that. By the way, now so that was my top 10. Tell me where in the comments your favorite theory, which one you're leaning to, falls into. And if I put yours way down at the list of 10, 9, 8, something like that, convince me why. I don't have time, by the way. I do not have a million hours to watch 10 different videos of people breaking down why it's a holographic image. I've watched some of it, but there's only so many hours in a day. By the way, if you find a way to get more than 24 hours in a day, let me know, because I get sent about 24 videos every single day that are an hour long that I'm told you must watch this. This proves everything. And I can't watch 24 1-hour videos in a 24-hour day and still make a comment about it, just letting you know. But anyways, the point being is that let's talk about a little bit about that entrance exit wound theory. Now, for the front on shot, there was so what I said is, if the shot came from the front, then where is the entrance wound? How do you explain the exit wound out the neck? And the explanation is that whole shirt lifting up thing, right? If you've watched the videos of Charlie getting shot from the front, it looks like his whole shirt flies up, right? And so people said, Charlie Kirk is wearing a bulletproof vest, you moron. And so when it hit the vest, it took his whole shirt up with him, and the bullet ricocheted off the bulletproof vest and took a weird angle, and therefore exited out his neck at a sideways angle because it ricocheted off the bulletproof vest. Now, we can argue all day long ad nauseum, and we have on many, many videos on whether or not a 30-06 round would be absorbed by the vest, blow through the vest, or ricochet off a vest. But the problem is, you have people like this to say, you literally can see Charlie Kirk's nipple, and they're pointing at it. You can see his nipple in this image and in several images. If you can see his nipples through his t-shirt, he's probably not wearing a bulletproof vest. And so many people believe that this bulletproof vest idea, and that the reason why we don't have the entry wound, exit wound that we would expect to see. And by the way, even in the ricochet theory, you still have to have an entrance wound if that other is the exit wound. Anyways, so then there became the mist of blood. Now, this is that side shot, same video from that individual who we saw, and Range Daybro. And so again, it's hard to see on this image, and I'm not going to play the videos for you. Hopefully you will go out and find the videos for these if you decide you want to get a further breakdown and see that favorite theory. This individual pointed out, and it has been this individual, Range Daybro, is commenting on somebody else's video. And now I'm commenting on that video of somebody else's commenting on somebody else's video. So this is the way this shit works. I'm not going to go look for the originals. We're just going to do some commentary for fun on my analysis. But there is what looks like this kind of shadowy area, which in moving it's not there until he's hit. And then you see this kind of shadow area appear, which he's saying is the mist of blood from the entry point. This individual is making a big deal. We now see clearly and definitively the entrance wound. And again, there's a zoomed in picture where a moment before this still frame is shot, this little shadowy area in the circled red is a mist of blood. So this argument goes that he gets hit in the head, and you see a mist of blood, the entrance point. And then right after that, you see down below in the neck, a big open hole, because the exit wounds are always much bigger than the entrance wound, opens up, and he gushes. Unfortunately, it's very graphic, gushes from that side of the neck. And so therefore is the angle. It's kind of downward through the head, through the spine, out the neck, and it seems plausible. And then come everyone to say, devil's advocates, you're a complete moron. That is Charlie Kirk's necklace that you see in the shadow. And they'll point out this right here, for example, the side view that shows the cord that was around his neck. And unfortunately, I didn't get the image of Charlie Kirk's slightly open chest with a white cord going down his thing. By the way, some people say that white cord was an earpiece cord. The earpiece goes around. Other people say it was a necklace that he wears with maybe a Christian cross, because of course that gets more sensational when you add in he had his Christian cross on him, and maybe that factors into the miracle about the bullet deflecting. Whatever the case may be, it's going to make great theater for somebody eventually, I'm sure. But what they're saying is, you see right here is the white area is his necklace flying up. Therefore, the dark shadow that you see obviously is nothing more than his necklace pendant flying through the air. And there you see another part of it where the white of the necklace is flying up. And so again, definitive proof, they say, that it's not a mist of blood that's coming off the side of his head. It's his necklace that flew up over his head. And sure, it is an argument worth considering. if he had a necklace on, when it does look like he might, I admit it does look like he had a necklace on, and it does look like that necklace is maybe kinetically flying off of his neck. And so if a pendant was on it, could it be the pendant that made the black shadow that could be perceived? Yes, it's happening at an extremely high rate of speed. We don't know what causes that shadow. So could it be? Absolutely. Definitive proof? You've been proven wrong, you moron devil's advocates? I'm not sure I'm going there. It's just something to consider. Yes, it could be a pendant, or it could be an earpiece. Again, that cord may not be his necklace, same image. It's just an earpiece, that he had an earpiece on this side that wrapped around, according to the one big article, video I watched, he had an earpiece on one side that wrapped around his neck and went down his shirt this way. And that, by the way, that cord, the cord which gets hit is what you see pull his shirt up, and you'll see the cord running through his shirt. And there's a good argument that that's what's happening. What happened was the cord of his earpiece perhaps has been hit, and it rips backwards. It's perhaps you see the earpiece fly out of his ear, and that causes the shadow that some say is the mist of blood coming off his head. We're talking about nitpicking every single frame of that image to say that little shadow you see for a second is blood, is an earpiece, is a necklace. And by the way, you're a moron if you don't realize it's been definitively proven now that it was blood, it was a necklace, it was an earpiece. We can argue all day long, and in fact, we will apparently argue all day long on what it was. And we won't get the great super high res photos and images, of course, that the government will have. We're having to work with whatever they give us online. So the point being is that, duly noted, it could have been an earpiece, it could have been his necklace, it could have been whatever. Here's another image of the kinetic shock, and you see on his shirt, it looks like there's the wire. So some people have pointed out he had a wire, maybe an earpiece that went around his head and down the neck here and is going across his chest. And some of that, they say, can explain why the shirt acts the way that it does. I'm going to end with just a couple of oddities that I wanted to point out. The hand signaling. I made a big deal about this individual and an individual in a white hat that some are saying is right, is Charlie Kirk's pastor of his church and had nothing to do with this. Neither did this guy, according to many people, have anything to do with this. This is Charlie Kirk's private security detail. I will say that I agree with you. I think that this is Charlie Kirk and the black shirts private detail. I see him in lots of videos behind Charlie Kirk in the same exact place, but right before the shot. And again, you can watch this on my members only video. I don't think I have the moving thing on my public facing one because it's graphic. It's right before the kill shot and it's graphic. So but I wanted to show, and I did show on my members only video and maybe on one of my public videos, two individuals. One seems to tip his hat. I said pull his ear. It's actually more like he brushed his cheek, not pulled his ear. There's a camera shot now that I've seen that I didn't see the first time. Screw me. I realize you're definitively an idiot, devil's advocate. He did not pull on his ear. He didn't tip his hat and pull his ear, because if you look at 37 angles from this side that you missed, you'll see that he wipes his cheek. Okay, I didn't see that image. I'm just sharing thoughts. Please, let's give each other a little grace to be wrong every so often. We're just saying what we see. I didn't say this is what happened. This is what I said. Here's what I see. It looks to me like these two individuals, one in white and one in black, seem to have called in the shot, and I got my nuts kicked. That's his pastor, you idiot. That pastor said he didn't do it, so he didn't. That's his security detail behind him in the black shirt, you idiot. He would never betray his own client. By the way, just as an aside, people who get assassinated often, I'm sure, are assassinated by their own people or betrayed by their own people and set up and led into an ambush by their own people. So it is not impossible. It is not impossible. By the way, now we have new theories that his bodyguard standing behind him is Israeli bodyguard. And so we got the whole Israel tie-in. I'm doing a whole book series, by the way, on Charlie Kirk, on the book by Whitney Webb called One Nation Under Blackmail, which I'm talking about how the Israelis and the Americans got into business, and Charlie Kirk. I have a weird brain freeze with Jeffrey Epstein and Charlie Kirk and transposing those two names. I have no idea why. It's a Freudian slip of some kind. But anyways, there's a theory that Charlie Kirk was assassinated because he was pushing Trump and others in our government to release the documents of who visited Jeffrey's. Wow. What is with the brain? Anyways, Jeffrey Epstein's list of who was visiting his island, his private island where he provided young girls for politicians, for example. And so there's a theory, a big theory. In fact, it's a lot of my theory that Charlie Kirk was assassinated because of political people that were afraid of him pushing and getting public support behind releasing more of the Epstein files. I still think that's a major part of this. And I think there's more than one reason why somebody's assassinated. That's just one of them. But anyways, if you want to watch that thing play out, I've got a really good book series started on One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. It's a 2-volume set that deals with the Israelis and the connection to Epstein. And then ultimately, I will then connect it to the Charlie Kirk assassination as I see it as a very, very possible underpinning. Oh my God, I spent too much time to say that what happens is a guy tips his hat, looks like he pulled his ear when I said, I agree with you now. It's probably brushed his face. I've seen an angle that he didn't pull his ear. It looked like signaling. And then this guy does the most crazy, crazy hand signaling that I have never seen him do on any other footage that I've watched. I've never seen him do it. Right before the shot, he steps up, he puts his hand here, and then a crack sounds out, and then this guy's shot and killed right in front of him. It looked like really suspicious on camera. I'm sorry. To this day, I'm saying it looks really suspicious. And I feel sorry for this guy because I'm sure he's not hiding anywhere, and he's going to go in public and he's going to be on Good Morning America and every show, whatever, perhaps talking about what happened. And maybe he'll explain to us what those hand signals were that I've never seen him give anywhere else. It looked suspicious when I first saw it. I did a members only video for a very small group of people that said, look at these two guys. Did they just call in a shot? And I still to this day have to question that. It's an oddity. And then let's just finish with George Zinn. This guy, rumor has it, seems to always be at the forefront of some kind of conspiracy theory. Supposedly, George Zinn had a major part in on the day of 9/11 when the planes hit the towers, and he saw it. Some say even he was the guy that supposedly found the passport that's allegedly blew through the Twin Towers when the planes hit and landed on the street below, identifying one of the hijackers, which is still to this day one of the most asinine stories I've ever imagined. And it is part of the official narrative that a passport of one of the hijackers somehow survived the plane crash and landed on the street. Some say it was George Zinn who found that passport. George Zinn had a major part in calling in or a report about seeing the planes hit the towers. Lucky him for being in the right place and here as well. Then he was apparently part of a call-in or a phone-in related to the Boston Marathon bombing. Remember that big Boston Marathon bombing with the brothers that were basically hunted down? George Zinn had a major part in calling in that event. What the hell with George Zinn? And now he's here on scene when Charlie Kirk gets shot. George Zinn yells out, I'm the shooter, arrest me. And then they find him with child pornography on his phone and they arrest him like this and they take him away. And I think to myself, what the fuck with George Zinn? People, look into George Zinn. I want to know how long George Zinn spends in jail. Does he spend a significant time in jail for, as he literally said, I just wanted to give the shooter time to get away? George Zinn, what is your deal, dude? I have a lot of questions, and they're just questions. Thanks for listening. Please take a moment to leave in your comments, or in my comments, what your favorite number was, your pet theory, if you have it on my list. And if you didn't, if your theory didn't make my list, like I said, there's a new theory coming out every day. Maybe in a little while, maybe it'll just be 10 days from now, I'll have a top 20 list. So tell me what number you come in at and let me know what you think. And again, let me say, give each other a little bit of grace for just asking questions. Let's talk with each other. If I am wrong about the side shot, as many of you said, politely say, devil's advocates, have you considered that it couldn't have been taken from that angle because the canopy would be blocking? Fantastic. Love that approach. You're a fucking idiot. There's no way that shot could have been taken. You need to do some research before you open your mouth. Not the right way to approach me. Thanks for watching. Give a like, subscribe if you like the way I present things. If not, give a like and subscribe anyways. Just do the right thing. Doesn't cost you any money. Appreciate it very much. Have a great day.